This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
It's scary. I mean, it's scary for everyone.
This is just frightening to feel that some psycho's running the neighborhood with armed weapons in his hand and he could shoot anybody.
Yeah.
For anyone. It's horrifying.
We will not stop until we've resolved that issue and caught this person.
Breaking now at 5, campus shooting. Police swarming Mount Pleasant looking for any sign of a Central Michigan University student accused of killing his parents.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 5 o'clock as we continue our team coverage of the manhunt for a gunman at Central Michigan. Police are searching for this man, 19-year-old James Eric Davis Jr. He is considered armed and dangerous. He has not been seen since the shooting happened about 9 hours ago, just after 9 a.m. We've learned the victims are Davis's own parents, James and Diva Davis. No students were hurt.
The shooting happened inside Campbell Hall, a dorm on the west side of campus, part of the Towers complex. Right now, students who were on campus are being reunited with their family members at a hotel in Mount Pleasant.
We know a lot of you have connections to CMU, and that's why our team has been in Mount Pleasant all day bringing you live updates. We start on campus now with 24-Hour News 8's Evan Dean, who is at a news conference that we brought you live within the past hour. Evan?
Brian and Sue, good afternoon. We've moved now to where this all happened. We're right outside Campbell Hall. The shooting happened on the 4th floor just before 9 this morning. The campus here is still on lockdown, though police, we're told, have slowly been going building to building, evacuating students. But the chief concern at this hour is tracking down this suspect. Police have an all-out manhunt underway. And right now we want to give you another look at that suspect in this shooting. His name is James Eric Davis Jr. He is a student at CMU, a 19-year-old sophomore from Illinois. The victims in this, his parents, are affiliated in Detroit, confirming that today. Pictured here are Diva Davis and James Davis Sr. We understand the suspect's father is a police officer in Bellwood, Illinois. As police continue their search, which has been focused north of here, they urge anyone who may see the suspect to call 911. Do not approach him. He is believed to be armed and dangerous. He is 5'10", 135 pounds. He was last seen wearing a blue hoodie and yellow-colored pants. Now, within the hour, local authorities, along with Governor Snyder and CMU President George Ross, they gathered to hold a press conference to update the case here. And the big question that remains now is why? Police still don't have a solid answer to that, but we did learn that police did make contact with the suspect last night. Davis Jr. had been taken to a local hospital over some sort of drug-related issue. He was released this morning less than an hour before the shooting happened.
And that's some of the pieces of the puzzle we're still trying to put together right now. I know we had CMU police that dealt with him last evening, and at some point in the evening he was transported over to U of M Health Systems on Pickert for an evaluation which we believed was drug related. Now, whether there was a mental health component that was in conjunction with that, we don't know.
We will not stop until we've resolved that issue and caught this person. We need to continue, though, to support one another during these difficult times. In addition to catching the person, the priority's been on how well we can support the students, the parents that have gone through this event, how well we can support the residents of the Mount Pleasant area.
Of course, campus here is a gun-free zone. We spoke with some students who are obviously grieving right now and upset about what happened, but they also have many questions about how this played out and how Davis Jr. got a gun into the dorm here. Also wondering whether or not it may have been his father's police-issued weapon. Those are questions we still don't have an answer to, but coming up at 6 o'clock, you'll hear from the university president. He's responding to those concerns tonight. For now, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, Evan, before we let you go, the shooting happening about 8 hours ago now, and from what I understand, that whole area has been in a standstill, including a lockdown at area schools. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Sue, good question. Earlier today, we were told that all of the surrounding schools, elementary schools, high schools, they were all locked down as well as a precaution in this. I did speak with a CMU official. Her understanding, the latest on that was that students had gone and picked up parents had gone and picked up their students at various elementary schools and other surrounding schools. But we were told that the 4th floor here at Campbell, no one has been able to leave leave there at all. So students, if they are up there still, obviously terrified and still remaining there tonight, some 8 hours after the shooting happened. Sue.
Okay, Evan Dean reporting live for us from the campus of CMU. Thank you, Evan. And right now, the all-out manhunt for the suspect continues. The largest concentration of police appearing to be north of campus right now, near Broadway Street and the Chippewa River.
24-Hour News 8's Ken Kolker is there as police are scouring that area. Ken?
Now, as you said, we're on the north side of Mount Pleasant, where police have been searching up and down the railroad tracks here. They've also been searching a nearby park and along the Chippewa River. Just moments ago, we saw the state police helicopter, which has been at it all day. You know, it's been 8 hours since the shooting and the massive manhunt that began this morning on the campus and led this way. It's led basically through the north through Mount Pleasant. The FBI, the state police, and local police with high-powered weapons going door to door through neighborhoods where many people stayed locked in their homes. They've been knocking on doors, checking inside cars, some of them being led by tracking dogs. And it was an odd scene as they were actually shadowed by an armored state police vehicle and at times some residents and reporters. Now, all the while, a state police helicopter has circled overhead all day. Now, the police say the suspect should be, as you said, considered armed and dangerous. It appears police were led to the north, based at least in part on a call from a CMU student. The student told us that he saw somebody matching the suspect's description run past the home where he lives. He says that was about 10:15 this morning.
We had some people just kind of like, you know, throughout the community texting. Everybody's on the phone with each other, you know, texting, tweeting, stuff like that. Look on the lookout. And then when you see, you know, when the campus is dead and eerie and stuff, and you see one person running from one section and keep going, it's kind of like, you know, fishy at a sense of, okay, well, what was that about? And then you're like, you kind of put it 2 and 2 together, and you just, you know, you never know. So you call the police and you're like, hey, you can follow up on it. Hopefully that it comes out to a result.
Now, as I said, police were searching up and down this river and also the railroad tracks. And in fact, you can still see them down there at a distance. Now, we'll have crews here all night as this search continues. For now, live in Mount Pleasant, Ken Kolker, 24-Hour News 8.
All right, Ken, thank you. Earlier, they said they had over 100 police officers out looking for this individual in Mount Pleasant. Now, all of this happened this morning as students were getting ready to leave campus for spring break.
24-Hour News 8's Joe LaFergie is live at the Comfort Inn near campus where parents are meeting up with their kids. Joe?
Sue, Brian, we heard Evan talk about many of the students still on the fourth floor there at Campbell Hall, and many of the students who have come to here on this hotel on the south side of campus were in that duplex or that complex known as the Towers, where Campbell is located. Many of those were able to get out. Matter of fact, we arrived here this afternoon following a whole bunch of buses coming in with a police escort from some of those students who got out of those dorms. They were led here with a police escort. This Comfort Inn here on the south side of Mount Pleasant. We witnessed a number of happy reunions, as you can guess. As you can imagine, there's been a long day for these students and a long day for parents. Just imagine you're back at home, you're several hours away from campus, and you hear of this shooting, and you have to, it's going to be a long drive to get to your student, and they were feeling pretty helpless with the campus on lockdown. The Comfort Inn here, it was set up as a location for parents to pick up their sons and daughters. Now, I talked to some of the students about what it was like in the hours after the shooting.
Well, we just woke up to the situation, and the cops had been calling us and leaving us voicemails, letting us know about the situation, how they were handling it. They handled it really well, so we weren't really panicked at any time.
Now, I asked some of the students, too, spring break's over in a week. Are you going to be ready to come back to campus? Some of them said sure. Others said you might want to take a little extra time. Now, it's interesting here, the site we're at, Ken talked about the manhunt on the north side of Mount Pleasant, on north of campus. State police helicopters also made some rounds here on the south side of campus. Just to give you an idea, we're just a little bit south of Kelly Short Stadium, the football stadium and the athletic complex here at CMU. And we have seen the helicopter make a couple rounds here, but no heavy police presence like Ken's seeing up on the north side. So we will continue to monitor the situation here as well. Back to you.
All right, Joe LaFurgey live at the hotel. It's going to be a slow, methodical removal of the students and the faculty this afternoon. The police saying it will take a little while. Joe LaFurgey, thank you for that.
Throughout the day, we have heard from students saying that they were alerted quickly by the university when the shooting happened this morning. Right away, students and faculty started getting automated voicemails like this one.
Regarding this morning's incident on CMU's campus, the suspect is still at large. At this time, please shelter in place where you are if you are located on CMU's campus. Thank you.
Also, Western and Central's rivalry basketball game tonight has been postponed now. Western's men's basketball team was already on campus in Mount Pleasant this morning when the shooting unfolded. The team is safe, but the game again is postponed. It was to be the final game of the regular season for both teams. It's unknown if it will be rescheduled.
Sorry to say there's been a shooting. Central Michigan, just heard two people, I think. Central Michigan University. Yeah.
That was the moment Congressman Fred Upton found out about the shooting today while in West Michigan. 24-hour News 8's Tom Hillen was with him, and he joins us right now with how he reacted to that shooting, Tom.
Yeah, so we were at an event with him today at Western Michigan University when we learned about the shooting at CMU. It was actually U.S. Representative Debbie Dingell who called to tell him about it. Here's Upton's reaction to today's shooting.
Kids can't learn, whether it's a high school, middle school, a college, if they feel that they're unsafe. And social media, the press, etc., these stories are not going to go away until we take some action to try and resolve it.
State Senator Judy Emmons, who represents the Mount Pleasant area, put out this statement today saying, in part, I am deeply saddened to learn of the shooting today at Central Michigan University. My thoughts and prayers are with the victims and all those affected by this tragedy. I want to thank campus, city, county, state, and tribal law enforcement agencies for their quick response to help protect the students and the entire community. Earlier this week, Upton, along with Democratic Representative Dingell, who is from the east side of the state, were picked to co-chair a work group in response to the Parkland, Florida school shooting coming up tonight at 6. I'll talk to Upton about what he thinks needs to be done about guns in America to keep tragedies like this from happening again. Sue.
Tom, thank you. Our coverage from Mount Pleasant continues throughout the night. We will continue to give you the very latest information. Look for live updates throughout this broadcast and, of course, on our mobile app.
This is a breaking news alert from 24-hour News 8.
Off the top tonight at 5:30, the latest from Mount Pleasant and Central Michigan University.
Right now, there's an all-out manhunt as police search for the suspect who opened fire inside a dorm, allegedly killing his parents. No students were hurt.
Police are looking for this man, 19-year-old James Eric Davis Jr. He is considered armed and dangerous, but he hasn't been seen since the shooting happened at about 9 o'clock this morning.
24-hour News 8's Ken Colker joins us now live from Mount Pleasant, north of campus, with the latest on the search efforts. Ken?
This manhunt continues. It's been 8.5 hours now since that shooting. Now we're on the north side of Mount Pleasant, where it seems to be the focus of this search. There's a helicopter just to the north that's been going up and down the Chippewa River and also up and down these railroad tracks. Now, as you can see off in the distance, there are some police officers down these tracks. Now, they've been stationed there for quite a while. Now, during a press conference, authorities said that there was some clothing found along the railroad tracks that they believe could have been his. I don't think that's been confirmed yet. We also talked to a student who lives on the north side of Mount Pleasant who said he had spotted a man who fit the description of the suspect running through his yard. Now, that has not been confirmed yet. Now, that manhunt has included an army of officers from the FBI, from the state police, from Mount Pleasant City Police, and from the tribal police here. And they've gone door to door. They've had tracking dogs, an armored vehicle, looking in cars, in and out of cars, searching for the suspect. Now, there has been no sign of him all day, other than perhaps that witness who saw him run through the yard. So the search continues, as I said, 8.5 hours after it began. Live in Mount Pleasant, Ken Colker, 24-hour News 8.
Now, Ken, in earlier coverage, you were actually walking behind that armored vehicle at one point, and you sort of described the situation as bizarre based on people that were coming out and watching this. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, there were a number of people who were staying in their homes, peeking out the doors, peeking out the windows, but there are also some who actually got out and followed this armored vehicle as it's going down city streets, slowly kind of creeping down the city streets with officers going door to door, and some of the residents and some reporters were basically right behind this armored vehicle, just behind the police.
Okay, so I guess at this point, authorities are still trying to pinpoint exactly where he was going, but they have few reports to go on. A lot of people have not contacted authorities about seeing the suspect. We will continue to track this. Ken, thank you for your live reports. We do have multiple crews in Mount Pleasant tonight, staying in constant contact with police as they search for this shooting suspect. Look for those updates on air, online, and on our mobile app.
Breaking news alert from 24-hour News 8.
Breaking right now at 6, a campus shooting at Central Michigan University.
The suspect is still at large.
It shouldn't have happened to us. It shouldn't happen to anyone. It's just when it hits home like this, it's definitely a little more powerful.
As the search continues to track down the shooter, the main focus now is keeping the community safe.
We are all rallying together. This is about how we support one another during challenging and terrible times, and that's what this was.
It was really nerve-wracking. It was, couldn't understand it.
And we're there tonight as panicked parents rush to reunite with their kids. Our team standing by in Mount Pleasant for live updates on what's happening right now. The manhunt continues at this hour for the suspect, the gunman that police believe killed his own parents.
James Eric Davis Jr. is the man that officers are looking for. Here's what he looks like. Authorities say he's armed and dangerous. Nobody has seen him for hours now.
The two victims are Davis's parents, 48-year-old James Davis Sr. and 47-year-old Diva Davis. James worked as a police officer in the Chicago suburbs.
No students or faculty were hurt in this incident. Parents and students are reuniting right now at a hotel not far from where that shooting happened inside Campbell Hall. That's a dorm on the west side of campus and is part of the popular Towers complex. And that's where 24-hour News 8's Evan Dean is standing by live. He's been covering this all day.
Brian and Sue, good evening. Campus is still on lockdown tonight, though police have been carefully going from building to building throughout the day, evacuating students from campus. The main concern, of course, as we near nightfall, is tracking down this suspect. An all-out manhunt now in its 9th hour. It was a day before spring break stunner. Sudden calls and alerts from CMU to its students.
They were letting us know that there was an active shooter on campus and there was a situation, so the school was on lockdown.
Larry Wallace was in town to pick up his daughter when he heard the news.
She texted me saying that she's under a table with other students in the class.
The campus on lockdown after 2 people were shot and killed here just before 9 this morning. It happened at Campbell Hall, part of what's known as the Towers on the southwest side of campus. The suspect, this CMU student, 19-year-old sophomore James Eric Davis Jr. The victims, his parents, our affiliate in Detroit confirming today. Those killed pictured here, Diva Davis and James Davis Sr. Police say they had contact with the suspect at the dorms last night. He had been causing some sort of problem and he was taken to a local hospital to be treated.
We believed was drug related. Now, whether there was a mental health component that was in conjunction with that, we don't know.
He was released around 8 this morning, less than an hour before the shooting happened. Students here are now scared, startled, and wondering how this happened.
It's a gun-free campus, and this guy, he walks in with a gun, and it's just no one knows the wiser until it's too late.
There's always opportunities to learn, but we will dissect this and review this after the fact. But today, we're worried about families today. We're worried about students.
So perhaps some clues as to why this may have happened, but still no solid answers tonight. And police, they're not entirely sure at this point how Davis Jr. got that weapon. We're not sure if it was perhaps his father's police-issued gun. Those are questions that we are still waiting to learn at this hour. But we are under the assumption that Davis Jr. does still have that gun on him. He is considered armed and dangerous, and if you do see him, you are urged to call 911 and do not approach him. Back to you.
All right, Evan Dean outside of Campbell Hall this evening. Evan, thank you for that live report. And as the manhunt continues, police are now focusing their search north of campus along the Chippewa River. For those of you who are familiar with the Mount Pleasant area, that's right across the street from Mountain Town Station.
That's where we find 24-hour News 8's Ken Kolker. Ken, what can you tell us at your location?
Now, as you said, we're on the north side of Mount Pleasant, where police have been searching up and down along the Chippewa River and also along the railroad tracks. Behind me, just moments ago, we saw a helicopter flying by. Now, that helicopter has been hovering all day. The search is now well into its 9th hour. And what they're fighting now is the clock with fading daylight. It's not clear what that will mean for the search. Now, so far, as I said, it has led police through north through Mount Pleasant, basically an army of police officers, the FBI, state police, local police with high-powered weapons going door to door through neighborhoods where many stayed locked in their homes, knocking on doors. They were checking inside cars, some being led by tracking dogs. It was an odd scene as they were actually shadowed by this armored state police vehicle, and at times residents and reporters kind of flocking behind them. Now, all the while, as I said, the state police helicopter has been circling overhead all day, going on about 8 hours. Now, police said the suspect should still be considered armed and dangerous. Now, it appears police were led to the north based at least in part on a call from a CMU student. The student told us that he saw somebody matching the suspect's description run past the home where he lives. He said that was about 10:15 this morning.
We were just like any CMU student today, kind of just looking out or whatever, a little nervous about what's going on, just getting a bunch of calls, and I'm not, trying to put any false pretenses, but we did see the blue hoodie and a young African-American male running through the yards or whatever, and we kind of, we double take, like, wait, is that, so I got on the phone immediately with the police, and we kind of just stood and waited for a sec to make sure we didn't hear any knocking or anything, and kind of just went into lockdown,
Now, in an earlier press conference, authorities said that they actually found, or somebody found, some clothing along these railroad tracks. Now, it's not clear if the clothing belonged to that suspect, but it could have been what has led them to this area here. And as I said, the sunlight is fading fast. The sun will be setting at about 6:30 tonight, so it's not clear what that will mean for searchers. For now, live in Mount Pleasant, Ken Kolker, 24-hour News 8.
Ken, as the manhunt continues, what are residents being told to do?
Now, residents have been told to basically stay in place, stay basically in their homes. Now, a lot of them haven't. We've also been told that there has been some businesses that were closed during the day, some banks and some other restaurants during this manhunt.
Okay. Ken Kolker reporting live for us. Thank you, Ken. Let's bring in 24-hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey now. He's
at the hotel where parents and students are being reunited tonight. Joe.
Yeah, Sue, imagine hearing about this shooting. Your son and daughter are still on campus. You're several hours away, and the guy that did the shooting, well, he is still out there. That's what many of the parents of many CMU students went through today. We witnessed a number of happy reunions. As you can imagine, it's been a long day for these students, a long day for parents. With the campus on lockdown, the Comfort Inn here on the south side of Mount Pleasant was set up as a location for parents to pick up their sons and daughters. While the shooting is tragic, it could have been much worse. Still, the Parkland shootings are still in the minds of many. Well, all that's going on both college and high school campuses. I asked some of the students if they ever thought they'd have to deal with a lockdown here at CMU.
No, but whoever does, I'm just glad that they handled the situation like they did because of how many things have happened around there. I'm sure that they were really prepared.
No, I never thought that at all. I don't know. It's just crazy. I have no other words except for that. Like, it's crazy.
Now, Diego Martin told me he thought the university did a great job of keeping students informed. They were getting updates throughout the hour on the situation. And unfortunately, the situation just wasn't changing as they were locked into their rooms. Now, there's some students that remain here at the Comfort Inn, and as you can hear, possibly overhead, that state police helicopter that's been on the north side for most of the day, flying over our area right now. We're just outside of the football stadium on the south side. So we will stay here and monitor things as well throughout the evening. Back to you.
Okay, Joe LaFurgey reporting live for us. Joe, thank you. Today's shooting has caused the rivalry game between Central and Western to be postponed. Tip-off was supposed to be tonight in Mount Pleasant. The Western men's team was already on campus when the shooting occurred. They are all safe. We're told the game will be rescheduled. This was the final game of the regular season for both teams.
As we've told you, one of the victims, James Davis Sr., was a police officer in Bellwood, Illinois. That's a suburb in Chicago. We're awaiting a news conference from officials there at that department. We'll bring it to you live if it happens during the broadcast and at woodtv.com. We'll continue our team coverage from Mount Pleasant throughout the evening. Our crews will be live tonight on News 8 at 7 and also tonight at 10 and 11. You can stay connected anytime through our mobile app.